Welcome everyone to episode 2 of This Week in WWE. I am your host, the most electrifying man on YouTube, Rise18. Let's get the show on the road, starting off with Raw Super Show. So with Raw Super Show, we have of course the Rock and John Cena promo, which I'll be talking later on, which is probably one of the most requested things that you guys have been personal PMing me about is talk about The Rock, Ryan, and all that stuff. So I will talk about The Rock and his notes that were written on his hand. That's later on in the video. Um, we start off with Raw with Chris Jericho confronting CM Punk. Basically, they were repeating themselves, saying that they're the best in the world. He was excuse me. Chris Jericho says that he's the best of the world at what he does. However, Jericho ranted, pleading his case that CM Punk re- remained unfazed and went on the attack, claiming that Jericho had a Napoleon complex, and the voice of the voiceless questioned if Jericho wasn't to prove to the WWE universe that he was the best in the world just by proving it to himself. Um, then Jericho would continue saying while he was away on Dancing with the Stars, he would watch Punk rip him off. Yet Punk countered that all Jericho ever had to do was challenge him at Wrestlemania rather than attack him on Raw. Punk ended the conversation by promising he would remain WWE Champion after WrestleMania 28. Then we would move into a match between CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, a rematch from last Tuesday's SmackDown, Super SmackDown. It would end in a no contest because of a lot of controversy dealing with Santino and David Otunga. Then Sheamus throwing Daniel Bryan back into the ring. Then, as Punk would go up to the entrance ramp, he would be later attacked by Chris Jericho, and Chris Jericho would give him the walls, pleading for Punk to tap, but Punk wouldn't tap, and then officials would separate the two men. Then we would have Kelly and Nikki Bella. Pretty simple match. Kelly wins with a nice roll up, I should say. Then we have John Cena versus The Miz. Basically, it was the epic clash from 1 year removed from WrestleMania 27. So basically, it was a squash match for John Cena to defeat The Miz. Then we would have The Rock watching the match, doing the "You Can't See Me" symbol, and then waving his hand across his face, and then acting like it was like the screen was a shade, and then just pulled down the screen. Later, would go on to a commercial break. Then we would have a triple threat tag team match for the WWE Tag Team Championships. We have Primo and Epico versus Kofi Kingston and R-Truth, which I like this tag team now. I mean, they're working pretty good together, so I can't wait to see what WWE is going to do with this tag team. And also with Dolph Ziggler and Jack Swagger. It was a pretty good match. Kofi Kingston and R-Truth almost pulled off with a victory, but Epico and Primo would throw Kingston out, and they would pull off with the victory. Then we would have the Big Red Machine returning after about a week after he was attitude adjusted off the ambulance in the ambulance match by John Cena, returning and choke slamming both Primico and Epico and basically everyone in the ring at that time. Then we would have John Laurinaitis and Teddy Long arguing about the leadership of Raw and SmackDown. And then it would be announced that this past Tuesday that both men would switch off of being, instead of Teddy Long being the SmackDown GM for this coming week, it would be him being the Raw GM and then John Laurinaitis being the SmackDown GM. Then we have Eve addressing the WWE Universe, saying that she's a woman in a man's world, and she explained that she has no problem using men to achieve her goals. She implored the WWE Universe not to blame her for her natural strengths, but to blame their weaknesses. As she left, Kelly confronted her, saying what has gotten into her, and Eve responded by laughing in Kelly's face and then walking away. Then we would have Sheamus and Big Show versus Mark Henry and Cody Rhodes. We would have a little footage cut of Big Show back in 2008 losing to Floyd Money Mayweather at WrestleMania 24, and basically Cody Rhodes would mock him. As the match started, Cody Rhodes would tag in Mark Henry quickly, and then would try to go up the entrance ramp, but that wouldn't be because Big Show would stop him in his tracks. Then Sheamus would tag in himself before then, broke kick Mark Henry, and yeah, so we have Sheamus and Big Show pulling off with the victory, and this is a pretty good thing for Sheamus. You know, they're really building him up to the main event status, which he's already at now because he won the Royal Rumble and now is main eventing WrestleMania against Daniel Bryan. Then we would have, of course, the special announcement about the Raw Super Show and the SmackDown GM controversy. Then we would have an announcement that Shawn Michaels will return to Raw Super Show next week. Then we would have is The Rock addressing the WWE Universe. The Rock comes out saying that if it wasn't for the WWE and for the WWE Universe, there would be no. The Rock would have never existed. The Rock would then turn his attention to John Cena, calling him some new words, a compound bitch, and Cena's missing balls. The Great One explained to John Cena that he was fighting for the people, and he lived to entertain the people. As the People's Champion continued, John Cena made his way to the ring and put some insults and backfired on The Rock. When Cena left, The Rock said it didn't matter what Cena said. At WrestleMania, both superstars would put everything on the line to watch The Rock's excuse me, my bad. But it doesn't matter because they will both give us a show that we'll never forget. Now, moving on to SmackDown, we would have Sheamus versus Dolph Ziggler, another squash match for Sheamus, for him to be built up to his WrestleMania match against Daniel Bryan. We all know he's gonna win at WrestleMania, so that's one of my predictions for WrestleMania. By the way, if you guys didn't know that, Sheamus would defeat Dolph Ziggler with a bro kick. Pretty simple. That's pretty simple, yeah. Then we would have a confrontation between John Laurinaitis and Theodore Long, making a huge announcement with Mr. Excitement taking control of SmackDown next Friday and Theodore Long running Raw. Long informed his fellow GM that this coming Monday night, David Ortega will face the Great Khali. Then we would have Santino Marella versus Heath Slater. I don't know what WWE's trying to do with Santino Marella, but they're doing a pretty good job with him. I mean, he's on a roll. I mean, he almost won at Elimination Chamber. I was at the edge of my seat. I'm like, oh my god, the Cobra, he's going to win. He's going to do it. But the way Santino would win, Heath Slater would go up to the top, but Santino would fall back on the ropes, causing Slater to land on his groin on top of the post. And then Santino would pull out the Cobra and do the Cobra to Heath Slater. 1, 2, 3. Santino is your winner. Then we would have Eve versus Natalya. Pretty simple. The roll up back and forth, and then Eve would win with the roll up. Then we would have another squash match for Mark Henry. I'll explain why he's losing all the time later on in the video. Then we would Big Show would win by using using the knockout blow, I should say. My bad. Yeah, so pretty much a squash match for the Big Show. For Mark Henry. Yeah, for the Big Show. Excuse me. Damn, I can't talk. Then we would have an announcement that it would be Big Show versus Cody Rhodes for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. So what do you guys think about that? Down below. Now going back to SmackDown, we would have Justin Gable versus Drew McIntyre. Teddy Long warned Drew McIntyre that he must win under the threat of being fired. Then the Scottish superstar took on Justin Gable. Unfortunately, the chosen one was stopped short with the 450 splash. And as Long made good on his promise, giving Drew McIntyre the walk out the door. So Drew McIntyre, this guy should have been pushed a long time ago. I don't know what they're trying to do with him. If you guys want to check out the video of me telling why they should push him, you guys can check out my channel and watch that. Drew McIntyre should be pushed. He came in as the chosen one, was the Intercontinental Champion for a long time. Had a good push at the beginning of 2011, but was stopped short and then was just jobbing the rest of the year. And even now. So I don't know what they're going to do with Drew McIntyre. Will he come back more powerful than ever? I don't know. Then what we would have is the World Heavyweight Champion Daniel Bryan versus Cody Rhodes. This would end via countout. They were brawling for a good 10 minutes. Then they would land outside with each other. Figures blows back and forth. Daniel Bryan would smash Randy Orton against the post. Then we would hear Kane's music come out, and Orton and Kane would go at it. It would end by a countout because Daniel Bryan had already won the match before Kane had come out. They would go around the ring and end up in the middle of the ring, and Kane would chokeslam Orton, and yeah, so that's basically that's it for SmackDown. Now going now if you guys want to check out the possible match between Kane and Randy Orton, that's my latest video before this one. You guys can check that out too. So anyway, then I'm gonna talk about is the notes written on The Rock's wrist. Personally, I think The Rock is going to win. It'd be a shame if he doesn't, because of the fact that it not just because it's in his hometown, but it's just like that he is yeah, I don't know how to explain it, but The Rock needs to win this, because if he doesn't, then no one's gonna really like this, because they're like, oh, why did I order this if I'm gonna see one of my favorite superstars just lose to a freaking Fruity Pebble, just quoting The Rock right there. But The Rock should win, in my opinion, just because he's The Rock. No, just because that he's more prepared. He's more, I mean, not more prepared. He's more experienced. He's more damn, I can't say it, but I know the company would lose a lot of profit from it if he doesn't win, because The Rock needs to win. I don't think it's the time for pass the torch to John Cena just yet. But if The Rock does win, I'll be happy. If The Rock doesn't win, I mean, it's a sad day in the WWE. Everyone's gonna rant on it, and the WWE knows that. So if they don't let The Rock win, then they're pretty much screwed. Then now going to The Rock's notes on his hand. At first I thought it was actually a tattoo. I mean, I thought, oh, maybe The Rock has a new wrist tattoo. But then the next day I would see a close-up of the picture on his wrist, and it was actually notes, like abbreviations of compound bitch and all that stuff. And I was like, okay. I said, what was this about? And I was saying to myself, oh, maybe it has to do with storyline, and it had to do with the storyline actually, because apparently the WWE has to do some new material, that way Cena can come back in promos instead of always saying, oh, you left us to do movies and all that junk week in and week out. So now referencing that The Rock needs to read lines off his wrist instead of just knowing it by heart, which we all know. I mean, The Rock's a movie actor. He has to remember lines all the time. So it's complete bullshit if you guys think, oh, he doesn't remember his lines and stuff. Like, come on, seriously. He's a movie actor, and he's been in the business for 12 years as a pro wrestler, and he's read lines before that too. So I mean, it's just complete bullshit. I want to see what this is gonna happen. What's gonna happen between John Cena and The Rock feud? I think there'll be probably back and forth promos being cut between the two. And could we see a Rock when he returns to Atlanta on the 26th of March, which is later on this month? Could we see him in a match instead of him cutting a promo again? Let me know what you guys think down below. But before I go, I'm gonna just talk quickly about Mark Henry. The reason why Mark Henry has been jobbing in these past couple of weeks is that his contract is due to expire later on this year. So apparently he'll be leaving the WWE sooner than we think, because there's been negotiations between the two, between WWE and Mark Henry does not want to re-sign with WWE. So we could see the end of Mark Henry. So there goes the Hall of Pain, there goes the World's Strongest Man, out the door later on this year. So anyway, going back to the video, I'm out, guys. Let me know what you guys think down below. What do you guys think about Kane and Randy Orton, a possible match at Wrestlemania 28? What do you guys think about The Rock? Written notes on his wrist. I'm out, guys. Comment below, subscribe up there, like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, add me on Skype, and I'm out, guys. Peace.